Welcome to the Monday solo round of the Unstoppable podcast with me, DG. My name is Dan J. Gregory, and I am committed to hunting down the secrets of business mastery and human performance. My goal for the Unstoppable podcast is to share insights from some of the most successful entrepreneurs, inspiring thought leaders, world-class athletes, and prominent celebrities to help you to become unstoppable in business and life. Each week I'll be bringing you a new interview with an inspiring person and sharing my own results as I pursue the answers to the question, how can I create the ultimate edge in my business, make a significant impact, and live an extraordinary life? Hello and welcome to episode number 63 of the Unstoppable podcast. Do you have big ideas that you want to turn into reality? Do you have big dreams that you want to create in your business? In today's episode, I'm going to be talking about the side effects of thinking big and how to overcome them. Listen on to find out what this means for your big ideas. Before we dive in, let's recap the previous episodes. Last Thursday, I introduced you to Lazo Freeman, who is the body transformation and specialist to the who's who and the super rich of London. And we talked about the mental and physical side of creating ultimate performance and transforming your body. It's an absolute must listen for anyone with a busy life who wants to get the edge. And then last Monday, I got really personal and I dived into the concept and topic of money shame and how our past mistakes can shape our current and future reality if we allow them to do so. And I shared a 4-step process to master your money mindset. So if you're currently not experiencing the levels of financial abundance that you want, then make sure you tune into episode 61 after today's show. Today is all about the power of thinking big. Transformational leaders have one thing in common. Their vision is bigger than average. And not just a little bigger. It's on a different scale. It's on a different planet. And thanks to visionary leaders, the pace of change in our world is absolutely phenomenal. Think about all the technological advancements we've seen in the last month, or let alone the last year or 10 years or 20 years, 50 years. It's incredible. You know, once human flight was deemed impossible, instant communication anywhere was deemed impossible, leaving Earth was deemed impossible, seeing farther than the naked eye was impossible. Scientific revolutions and technological revolutions and evolutions have turned a long list of impossibilities into everyday realities, and science and technology as we know it is just getting warmed up. Robert Fritz said, if you limit your choices only to what seems possible or reasonable, you disconnect yourself from what you truly want, and all that left is a compromise. So the power of thinking big, we can understand how important that can be in our lives. However, sometimes we set goals that are so big that we become unhappy because we pursue a level so high that we can never be satisfied. So what's the difference between thinking big and the practical realism of making it happen? What's the difference between thinking big and versus the optimistic reality distortion experienced by those who really make it happen? I want to share my story of thinking big that's occurred to me over the last couple of weeks when I've been reviewing my goals and my plans for the next 3 months, 12 months and beyond. You see, at the beginning of quarter 3, I went through a really in-depth, deep self-coaching session where I was planning the future, really reviewing where I wanted to go the next 90 days, looking at what held me back in the past from achieving at the level that I want to achieve, and really refining my character, my identity, my beliefs, my vision, my goals to enable me to move forward at a new pace. And so far it's been highly effective. Things have really, the needle is really moving for me right now based upon some of the changes that I made in that deep quarter 3 planning. And I'm going to be releasing a workshop on the whole process that I went through at some point because it's so powerful. But one of the things that I wrote down, and part of the process was to look at the short game and the long game. And I did a podcast episode on this recently where I called it the short haul and the long haul. And one of the ideas that I wrote down for the long haul, the long vision, I didn't put a timeline on it. I wasn't thinking, 20 years specifically or anything like that. But I had one big idea and I'd written it down as the Woodstock in inverted commas. I had this vision of creating this epic 3-day business and professional development event outdoors, something like a gigantic music festival where I bring together some of the best speakers and the best thought leaders within business, personal development, and well-being, to have this festival of ideas, this festival of business. And it's an idea that really, really fires me up. And I've got it penned under the working title of Danstock right now. And I want to host it next summer. If I go ahead with the idea, I'm going to host it next summer in San Francisco. The site of Woodstock, perhaps not the original fields of Woodstock, but somewhere in that area in California. And when I think about that idea, I am filled with excitement, the excitement of thinking big, imagining the impact of, affecting and helping over 100,000 people, if not millions of people, building relationships with some of the world's most foremost thought leaders across a number of different fields, people that I've respected all my life, all my adult life since entering this business world, creating new communities and building new connections, fostering networking and bringing people together. The financial success that would come as a result of achieving something of significant proportion, building my following, building my tribe, leveraging the different audiences of all the people that I bring together, the social impact that could be created by an event of that scale, the actual transactional impact that could be created for my partners and the sponsors who come and become part of the event, and just creating. When I grew up as a teenager, from the age of 15, I attended music festivals every single year. I remember going to my first music festival at the age of 15 years old, went to Reading Festival for 2 days. I stayed in a hotel. I didn't stay on site at the camping. I was deemed too young to do that, and probably rightly so, having camped the year after and thereforth. But it had this amazing time, this outdoor, 3 days of music, 2 days the first time I went, experiencing, the live atmosphere of the music and really soaking in the community and the culture and the feel of that kind of festival environment. And then, since joining the business world, becoming an entrepreneur and starting my own business, I really find it fascinating attending business events, personal development events, seminars, workshops, networking events, and all these different types of experiences in the business world, but nothing comes close. I've had some amazing experiences. One of my favorites is the Unleash the Power Within seminar with Tony Robbins, who's coming to London in October, actually, and March next year. Even the experience that Tony creates in that marvelous seminar at UPW, something I aspire to creating in my own world, is nothing compared to what I experienced at that music festival environment, whether it's Reading, whether it's Glastonbury, whether it's some of the biggest festivals around Europe. I'm a big music fan. So I have this vision of creating these 3 amazing days of business and personal growth, big stage, small stage, outdoors. It's a really exciting vision, but it's the interesting thing, and this is what this episode is all about. It's about the side effects of thinking big. So I'm going to share with you, when I wrote that down at the beginning of Q3, I did nothing with it. It was on the long game list, the Woodstock, I called it. Now the Danstock. And I didn't really think about it until recently. And I read through the entire process. I took notes on the entire coaching process, the self-coaching process that I put my through at the beginning of Q3. And there it was. I saw it at the Woodstock. And instantly I was like, I felt that excitement again. And I thought, oh God, if I'm going to do that, I thought, and there is significance of doing it in 2017. I'm not going to go into the depths of that, but there is a significance to doing it. So if I am going to do it in the summer of 2017, on the proportion that I see it and envision it to be, the epic nature of this kind of 3 amazing days of business and personal development, I'm going to have to get my ass into gear and get started like now, like yesterday, like last month, at the beginning of this year even, probably, something of this scale. But I have no experience of doing anything like this. Zero. I have no idea, literally no idea of how to put on something of this scale, this magnitude. Zero. Nada. Nothing. I've put at the biggest event I've ever put on personally. I think there's about 300-400 people there. The last event I did had 50 people there. So, thinking about a giant music festival style business experience over 3 days with hundreds of thousands of people, I have no idea where to start. So herein lies the challenge. And here are the side effects of thinking big, because I want you to relate this to your own big dreams, big ideas, goals and dreams. And as I'm talking about this kind of side effect process, I want you to think about your experience in this area. When you think about your big goals, and just take a moment now to kind of reflect as you're listening to this and think about what your big goals and visions are. What those big plans, those big ideas that even if you're not focused on right now, they're there in the back of your mind, like mine was, written on that list of the long haul game plan. It's just there, the Woodstock. Think about your Woodstock. What's your big idea? Whether you're working on it right now, or it's in there somewhere, or you thought about it in the past and you've perhaps parked it. Bring it to the focus of your attention right now as I talk about the side effects, because here's what happened. After the initial excitement of all that big thinking and all the, as I was painting the picture for you there, hopefully you can always put yourself there, especially if you've been to a music festival, you know what it looks and feels like. But as I did that, the very next thing that happened is doubt, fear, and limiting thoughts kicked into gear. So, doubts. I've got no idea how to do it. Will I ever have an idea of how to do it? What if I don't pull it off and I let people down? What if I can't get the speakers I want? What if I can't fill the event? What if I make all these arrangements and nothing comes off? Fears, how will I fund it? What if someone steals my idea? The very idea of put it on this podcast now leaves that door open. These genuine fears, right after the excitement, before I've even said a word or taken a single step, this fear of what if someone steals my idea? What if I get ripped off in the process? What if I assemble this team and someone sabotages it? What if I lose money? What if I lose significant amounts of money? What if I fail? And limiting beliefs, I don't have the connections I need. I've never done anything anywhere near this magnitude before. Do I have the skills to do this? Is it even possible for me? My track record suggests that I've never done anything of this scale before. Can I make that change now? Can I make that shift? So all of these limiting thoughts, limiting beliefs, fears, self-doubt, doubts, concerns, all came to the forefront almost immediately after that initial excitement of thinking about that big idea. And when I close my eyes, I can see exactly at this point how I envision the event taking place. I can see some of the speakers, I can see the stage, I can see the tent, I can see exactly how it's kind of laid out in the format. But despite that excitement, all of those doubts, fears, and limiting beliefs kick right in. It's almost like that devil and angel on your shoulder, I used to say. The angel's the one that's there, excited about the future. It believes in your ideas. It's limited. It's got limitless thinking. The possibilities are endless. And then you've got that little devil on the shoulder who is drowning in fear and doubt. And that's the one that pokes you and says, who are you to think you can do something like that? You've never done anything like that before. What makes you think you can do that now? All these fears and doubts come from that side of the brain. So as I said, as you're thinking about this, I want you to think about your big goals and dreams. Have you ever experienced that? Yeah, that initial excitement where you think about something you really want to achieve, something that would be absolutely game-changing for you, your life, your business, some huge goal that would create significant impact. And then the reality, that what I call practical realism, kicks in, where the doubts and the fears, and you start thinking about the practicalities, what needs to happen to make it happen. And if it's, if you're looking at that, what I call level 3 goal, the level 3 goal is way beyond anything you've ever achieved before. Number 2 is something, level 2 goal is something that you can achieve because you've done something similar in the past and you can see the steps of achieving it. And level 1 is something you've done time and time again in the past. That level 3 goal, that big goal, is something you've never even got close to in the past. So you start to unfold the practical realities, yet you have no experience of creating the practical realities. So this practical realism kicks in with the self-doubt, the fears, and the limiting beliefs. And all of a sudden you're derailing your ideas before you've even got started, before you've even consulted anyone, before you've even, put a plan in place, before you've even written the steps, the first step to achieving it. Before you've even thought about that, your practical realism is kicking in and taking you off track. Contrast that with what I call optimistic reality distortion. This is a concept that's been attributed to Steve Jobs of Apple, someone who is known to bend reality in the sense that he had this vision of what he wanted to create within Apple. He had this clear idea exactly how his products he wanted to create and manifest, and how they would look, how they would feel, how they would function, how they would be marketed, how they'd be launched, how they'd be received, how they would feel in the hands of the user. all these different things. And, he challenged his team hard to create that reality and make it happen. This vision he had, every little detail, even the internal components of the devices had to be immaculate, had to be pristine, had to be well designed, had to be organic. And he was known for bending reality, asking people, demanding things of people that they would never expect of themselves, or no one else would expect it of them. But he created that demand, and as a result, he achieved things beyond anyone's wildest imagination, and actually helped people achieve things for themselves beyond their wildest imagination. He's one of many people, many entrepreneurs, many new scientists who have created things from nothing, who've created something from a seed of an idea, from a vision, from a driving passion, from a burning obsession. And you think about people like Henry Ford, the same thing happened, that reality distortion, when he was thinking about the 6-cylinder engine. It hadn't been created before, and he demanded that his team create this engine. Months and months went by. They kept telling him it's not possible. Yet he managed to instill the faith in them that it is possible, and they kept continuing, and they finally had a breakthrough, and they created the 6-cylinder engine, and the rest is history. The Ford motor car was launched. There's been countless examples throughout the history of time where this reality distortion, this optimism, this belief, this ability to bend reality kicks in, and magic is created. These big ideas, these big visions are come to fruition. Think about some of the stuff that Elon Musk has created in Tesla and SpaceX, and some of the transport programs he's looking to put together. Some incredible ideas where bending reality, anything is possible, like limitless thinking. So what can we do about this what I call practical realism? What can we do about these doubts, these fears and limiting beliefs? And again, I want to take it back to you. Think about all the experiences you've had when you're thinking about your big goals. And as I'm going through these 10 steps in a moment, how to overcome these side effects of thinking big, I want you to think about your own circumstances. But before I do that, I just want to touch on a very simple thought. I said at the beginning that often, we can not get started for fear of missing out, or for fear of not achieving the goal. Or if we reach so far and we don't hit the absolute goal, we feel dissatisfied because we didn't achieve what we ultimately set out to do. And I was having a conversation with a friend on Friday. I said, look, if I was training a specific weight in the gym, I set out the intention, say, to do 100 kilo bench press, for example. I only pulled off 80. It's important to celebrate the 80 kilogram bench press, whatever that is in your world. You have to celebrate the steps towards achieving the big goal, because if you don't do that, you will feel dissatisfied. It's about celebrating every step towards that big goal, but then dusting down, going back to the drawing board, figuring out what you need to do next, what steps you need to take, how do you get bigger, stronger, faster, so that you can come and do that 100 kg bench press, or whatever it is in your business. That's just a metaphor, it's an analogy. But the key distinction I want to make here is you've got to celebrate the steps on the way. Otherwise, you will never be satisfied. You will be left unhappy if you're pursuing those higher goals. I was listening to a documentary about someone who's going to be appearing on the podcast very soon. I won't say who it is, but he was number 2 on the New York Times bestseller list, and he was disappointed. Think about that level of achievement compared to where he previously was, and his whole message is about bouncing back from real turmoil. Yeah, there was some real competition he had. He had people with far bigger audiences, but he wasn't satisfied with number 2. You have to celebrate every milestone on the way to the journey, otherwise you will be left feeling unsatisfied. But let's tackle this issue of thinking big and how to deal with these side effects, those negative side effects of thinking big. Now, these 10 steps, I have studied some of the greats of our time. I've looked to some of the commentators who have commentated on the greats of our time. I've read some of the books that have analyzed and studied the impact of thinking big and how to achieve big dreams. And I've come up with 10 steps today to overcome those side effects of thinking big. So number 1 is to defy conventional thinking. Defy conventional thinking. You see, most people have been unconsciously programmed to abide by tradition and a certain mindset. This mindset is conditioned in us from an early age, and anything outside of this mindset is termed impossible or crazy. We're taught to go to school, study hard, blend in with the masses, get a conventional job, go to work in a box so that we can buy a box and then upgrade the box that we live in once in a while. and repeat the process, have children and do the same thing. But when you think big, you force your mind to challenge and defy conventional thinking. You get to defy the status quo. If the great innovators of our time had not gone before us, we would all be cave dwellers believing that the world is flat. Thinking big challenges us to go beyond our comfort zone, to push our limits, and to stretch our imagination. So free your mind to think big and take a chance on your dreams. Defy conventional thinking. Bend reality. Number 2, dream without limits. Never underestimate the power of your ideas. All inventions and innovations start off as big ideas, but big ideas can change the world. The leaders that create real change are free from limitations and they are free from small thinking. A big thinker visualizes what is possible in the future. Thinking big enables you to take the ordinary and create something extraordinary. So look at things not as they are now, but as they can be, without limits. Dream without limits. Number 3, solve big problems. Those who cultivate the habit of thinking big understand the need to solve big problems. And it all starts by asking big questions. How can I solve this problem better than anyone else? How can I think more creatively about this problem? How can I take the solution to this problem to another level? How can I think even bigger about the solution? This is about tackling big problems with big questions and coming up with big solutions. Look at some of the greatest inventors and innovators of our time. It's all come as a result of solving a big question and serving human needs. Number 4, believe that you will succeed. Belief is the most important part of achieving big. Go large. The size of your belief determines the size of your success. If you believe that it can happen, then it can happen. Magnify your thinking power. To quote one of the biggest thinkers of our time, I've already talked about him today, Steve Jobs, life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is that everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it, you can influence it, you can build your own things that other people can use. Once you learn that, you'll never be the same again. Believing that you will and can succeed is one of the basic and essential traits of successful people. Be confident, know that you can do it, and that you will be unstoppable. Number 5, defy your fears. Big thinking creates possibility, whilst fearful thoughts will keep us small and constrict us and constrain us. Our fears of failure, rejection, and not being worthy or enough can make thinking big very difficult to do. By worrying about what could lie in the future, like I've talked about in today's episode, we stress about what could go wrong. Think about me talking about people stealing my ideas. I've just talked about it on the podcast in front of potentially thousands of people. Yet we concern ourselves with worst case scenarios, and this inhibits us from taking action. Action cures fear. Get in the game and eliminate the word impossible. Successful big thinkers come up with reasons why you can achieve. Others will find reasons why you can't. Whichever way you think will become true for you, whether you believe that you can or whether you believe you can't. Big thinkers see problems as a challenge, and every challenge is an opportunity. So defy your fears. Take action. Number 6, think creatively. Whilst it's great to admire and respect and learn from the entrepreneurs and leaders who have gone before us, we can study and observe them. However, do not worship them and do not try to be them. Do not try to replicate them. Aim to be better than them. Think big, solve big problems, ask big questions, and innovate. The key to innovation is imagination. This is about thinking creatively. So let your big ideas flow freely and allow yourself to think creatively. Create a vision that is so unique and so inspirational that it ignites the fire within you and gets you excited to work towards it no matter what. Number 7, control your environment. Michael Port says, sometimes we assign the role of big thinker to some people, but we don't necessarily see ourselves in that role. And often that's because of the voices of judgment, either negative peers and colleagues telling you why something will never work, or even more damaging, your own internal voice telling you the same thing. Remember, it's that devil and angel on your shoulder. And there's been countless examples throughout history where people have doubted, they've criticized, they've knocked down, they've forecast that these projects and programs and products will never work. There's plenty of people during the birth of the internet who said the internet would never take off. It was a fad. It was going nowhere. What? That's crazy. People said that computers would never find a place in the home. People said we would never be able to send radio waves across the earth. There's always been doubters. You need to surround yourself with people who believe in your vision. The company you surround yourself with will have the ultimate impact upon your success. People judge what they don't understand or can't comprehend. So not everyone will see things your way, and not everyone will believe what you see. However, this should never stop you from thinking big. So it's up to you to surround yourself with people who uplift you and add fuel to your big ideas. Let's fire up that flame and get it moving. Get around people who can help you. On that note, number 8, attract the support of others. Successful people connect with people. The ability to leverage and inspire others is key. The bigger you think, the more people you're going to need to help you. You see, resources are never the problem. A lack of resourcefulness is the real problem. Yet, other people outside of us have all the resources we need to make our big ideas a reality. Think about some of those challenges I talked about on the Woodstock project. There are people out there who have already achieved the types of things that I want to achieve. There are people out there who could willingly help me achieve my major goal. You see, when big ideas are well articulated, they will motivate and inspire those around you. And in this highly connected world, it's never been easier to attract and build a movement around a big idea. So use social media to share your ideas and gain the resources that you need to make your big idea happen. And I got a couple examples of this just recently. I put the post, I told you about the post up about Dan Stock, and already I put it on Facebook, and many people commented and said they'd love to be part of what I'm doing. They'd love to find out more. Just yesterday, or even this morning, it's been a long day, I put a post up about needing a videographer in my city and a web designer. And before the end of the day, I had multiple requests. And there was a major peer of mine in my industry who commented, this guy has got people within 4 hours. Unbelievable, because he'd been looking for someone for his business. When you ask, you receive. So you've got to create a vision that attracts people to you. You can't do it on your own. You've got to leverage those around you to give yourself the best chance of making your ideas a reality. So attract the support of others by articulating your vision. Number 9, commit and focus. Decide on your big goal and commit to it. Big goals require big effort, big courage, and big sacrifice, and much, much bigger than many people think. Take a look around you. Consider how many people you know that are making real, tangible progress towards making their dreams a reality. Not just talk of what could or will be, but actual progress. You need to be prepared to leave your excuses at the door. Those who think big don't make excuses, they make progress. The key is to commit. I was talking about the Woodstock project, and I was thinking about, if I am going to do this, it's going to take a lot of time. It's critical for me to put a fork in the sand that says I'm either going to do it or I'm not. Either way, I commit to the outcome. Because most of us have no clue how many thousands of hours of planning, preparation, and action that goes into achieving a big dream, let alone the struggles, the sleepless nights, the tough decisions, the failures, the potential distractions, the problems and setbacks. Big goals and objectives are only achieved by those with the focus, the willpower, and the resilience to keep on moving forward when everyone else is unwilling to persist. So make the decision, commit to your big ideas, and keep 100% of your focus on achieving your major goals. Committing to your goals will not only help you make the right decisions, it will help you stay focused. And when you are faced with choices of how to use your time, you'll be presented with choices that will either help move you toward your goals or move you away from achieving your goals. So you can have, once you've got that clear focus, you know which direction you need to take. And number 10, everything we've talked about has led to one place: start. You've got to get started. The Chinese proverb says the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time is today. And there's a difference between dreaming and doing. You have to start. And remember, everything starts small. Big thinkers think several steps ahead, but it starts with that first small step. You don't need to know all the steps. You just need a roadmap to get started. So turn your dreams into written goals and set about creating your plans and get ready to get started now. Life is about making mistakes. It's about taking chances, and it's about thinking big about your life and circumstances. Sidney Smith said, "A great deal of talent is lost to the world for want of a little courage. Every day sends to their graves obscure men whose timidity prevented them from making a first effort." Live your life having no regrets. Get started. Your big ideas may never go the way you even imagined, but be someone who thinks big. Be someone who takes chances and be someone who enjoys the journey. Get in the game. Here is to your big idea. I hope these 10 steps are helpful for you. I believe in you. I want you to go after your big dreams. And to help you, I want you to come and join a like-minded community of people who are committed to achieving their goals and dreams over at my free Facebook group, The Unstoppable Mastermind. I've been deliberating whether I'm going to go ahead with this group. I've set it up. There's a handful of people in there at the moment. It's going to be a place for the Unstoppable tribe to connect and support each other in an environment of like-minded people who are committed to thinking big and going out there and making things happen. So head over to unstoppablepodcast.com/tribe to come and get involved. Finally, I recently launched my new daily DG show on Facebook Live, influenced by the daily Gary Vee show. So tune in every day at facebook.com/Dan J. Gregory Official. The link will be in the show notes for today's episode at danjgregory.com. And get ready to tune in this Thursday for my very next special guest interview. Thursday's show is going to really help you get your big idea off the ground. We're going to be talking about how you can create a following behind your brand. Really important. Until next time, go out there, unleash your greatness, build your empire, make your impact, and live your ultimate life. You are unstoppable.